The world has to stand up and take notice. The New York Jets are for real. Welcome back to New York Sports WickerMedia. I am Watsu-K99. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you like that new video that I just put together. A little different intro. I made it a little bit more New York. Felt it was only appropriate, being that the channel is New York Sports WickerMedia. And I'm very happy that you're taking the time to watch this video. So the New York Jets knock off the Green Bay Packers on the not yet frozen, yet very wet tundra of Lambeau Field 27-10. My goodness, this was the ultimate statement game. This is a game that is going to put the New York Jets on the national radar. They can no longer be overlooked. There is no more excuse to make. You can't talk about the quarterbacks being injured. You can't talk about this injury. You can't talk about this and that, and this guy had a hangnail. No. The New York Jets came out, and after a very defensive-focused first half, they kicked the Green Bay Packers in the teeth. That's it. It is that plain. It is that simple. So what we're going to do, I want to make a couple of notes about this game, and then we'll get into the three key plays that you might not remember that affected the outcome of the game. First of all, the Jets have matched their win total from the 2021 season with 4. That just makes me laugh. It took them 6 games to accomplish what they wound up doing over 17 last year. That is unbelievable. The first thing I got to talk about the penalties in this game. I'm going to talk about some positive. I'm going to talk about a few negatives too, because we got to keep it real here. We're not going to talk about only the negatives after the Jets lose, and we're not going to only focus on the positives when they win. We want to be as fair as we can be. The Jets had 7 penalties called on them, and those were just the accepted penalties. Some of them made sense, but some were ridiculous, like that unsportsmanlike conduct penalty that extended that drive for the Packers. I mean, it was a lot of third down penalties that the Jets took, but that unsportsmanlike penalty, apparently, for all the research that I've done on this, the only thing that I can get is it sounds like one of the Jets' assistant coaches somehow bumped into a referee on the sideline. Did he apologize? I mean, how is it that I just don't understand how that is a 15-yard penalty. And then the referees owe the crowd an explanation as to why that penalty was called. I just didn't get it. But the story to me in this game is the Jets' defense, first and foremost. They held the Green Bay Packers to the fewest points that they have scored at home since 2011. The tackling was unreal. One of the biggest things that I said about this game, for the Jets to win, they had to stop the running game of the Green Bay Packers, and that meant wrapping up Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon and making the tackles when they had the opportunity to do that. And that's exactly what they did. Aaron Jones had 9 carries for 19 yards. If you had told me that Aaron Jones would only have 19 rushing yards in this game and he would play the whole game, I never would have believed it. And A.J. Dillon didn't do too much either. I mean, he had 19 yards on one run, and that was basically a third of the Packers' rushing offense. So I want to give a lot of credit to especially quinnenwilliams, who had 14 tackles. Quinnenwilliams was lights out. I mean, I know we're talking about the run defense, but he had a 14.8 pressure percentage. That was the highest among defensive tackles. 2 sacks. By the way, you know what I'm realizing when I do my bold predictions? I predicted last week against Miami Q would have 2 sacks. He did it this week. I did the same thing for LaMarcus Joyner's interception. I predicted that a week before it happened. These bold predictions I'm making, whatever I'm saying, just apply them to the next game, okay? Because I'm making all these predictions wrong, but they're correct for the next week. It's just very bizarre how this happens. A couple of other notes that I do want to make on this game. The fourth quarter. My gosh, the Jets, I don't know why the Jets are so good at the fourth quarter, if it's coaching adjustments, if it's leadership from certain players, whatever it is. This is remarkable. They're plus, I believe, 69 with their point differential in the fourth quarter. That is the second best of the last decade. Uh, Not among the Jets, but the entire NFL. The only team through 6 games who had a better point differential in the fourth quarter than this year's Jets were the 2016 Denver Broncos. It is truly amazing what this team becomes in the fourth quarter. Can this be sustained? Is this a thing that you could say, okay, to be this great fourth quarter team, we have to do X, Y, and Z? It's hard to say, but it has been going on for weeks. You can officially call it a trend, and you could say the Jets are the best fourth quarter team in football by a wide margin. But it was all about the complementary football, and I love when special teams works out because to me, when special teams are buzzing, it's a good sign that you have good depth, and that can really give a lift to the offense or to the defense when they're about to come back on the field. I know special teams is a small part of the game, but it can really swing games when they're really, really good. Berrios looked good on his returns. Braden Mann continues to boom punts. And is there a better gunner coverage team in football than Justin Hardy and Brandon Eccles? I mean, they were wrapping up the Green Bay returners immediately and taking them right down to the Lambeau Field turf. They had no chance to return almost anything all day. And I want to give props to the coaches because at some point, yes, we have talent, but you got to give these coaches some respect. I think there was some concern after defeating Miami, getting above 500, breaking that divisional drought where the Jets hadn't won a division game since basically 1954, it felt like. But they came out and they handled prosperity against what we thought was a very good Green Bay Packers team. Now, you can say what you want about the Packers, but the Packers have a very impressive pedigree and one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. And they had a very impressive win streak at Lambeau Field as far as the regular season goes. I think it had been 10 or 11 straight games they won at home in the regular season. Well, the Jets just have a tendency of busting streaks, don't they? Whether it's the Pittsburgh losing, whether it's the division losses, it is truly something else. Now, 2 things I do want to point out that did concern me. One is Elijah Moore not getting targeted, and I'm not going to talk too much about what he said on Twitter. I'm glad that he said that I'm okay with him saying that it's bittersweet because, yeah, if I'm him, of course I want to be able to make plays. But, he's getting his reps on the field. His time will come. But I'm glad that he talked about the team, being the most important thing because when he is needed, he will be used. Right now is not the time. This is a run-first team, and this team has a lot of good wide receivers. So I'm not hitting the panic button on Elijah Moore. If he's an afterthought or if he's a decoy right now, well, I don't think it's going to last for all that long. And the other thing was third downs. The Jets did not have a good day on third down. They converted only 1 out of 11 third downs in this game. They really didn't get rolling until much later, really until the second half started, their second drive of the second half. But before that, this just offense was really, really sputtering. But eventually, once they did get rolling, it was pretty much lights out. It's amazing how the Jets can look so stagnant for a good part of the game on offense, and then they just turn it on and boom, it can be pretty much curtains. So with that in mind, I want to go into the reason I do this show on Sunday nights, the 3 key plays you might not recall that drastically affected the outcome of this game. All right, let's get at it. Play number 1. We're going to go to the second quarter as the hard rain starts to fall outside. Man, we're getting some rain out here. Really loud rain. All right, second quarter, there was 3:07 to go in the second. The Jets are up 3-0, and Green Bay has a 3rd and 4 from the Jet 47. And then AAronRodgers throws a short pass to A.J. Dillon behind the line of scrimmage, and he is stopped for a 1-yard gain. Now, at this point, the Packers had a decision to make. Do you go for it, or do you punt the ball away? Well, with 2:24 left, they're at the Jets 46. Now, Mason Crosby hadn't missed a kick yet all year, but this would have been a 63-yard field goal. Would have been pretty long. So it seemed to make sense to punt, make the Jets try to drive the field, which they had not done at all up until that point. The Packers don't do that. They go for it, and they try a deep pass to Romeo Doubs. And Rodgers throws a decent pass, but he had a little bit of pressure on him, but the pass was a little bit past his hands, and this has been a tendency for Rodgers and Doubs all season. Doubs might get a step, he might get open, but there have been a number of times when Rodgers just has not put the ball where Doubs wants it. Now, even though that didn't lead to anything, this is where you can start to hear, I felt a little bit of the booing, and the Green Bay fans really starting to get aggravated with the team. And I felt that really put a little bit of a damper on the whole team. I felt like after that, the Packers started to sink a little bit in terms of their energy and their morale. All right, let's go to play number 2. And now we're going to go to the third quarter. There was 11:16 to go, so this is relatively early in the second half. It's now a 3-3 game. Jets and Packers tied up. Green Bay has a 3rd and 3 from their own 46. Now, the Jets had already punted on a 3-and-out. So the Packers have a chance to drive down the field and take the lead. So on that 3rd and 3, Aaron Rodgers gets sacked by John Franklin Myers for a loss of 7. Huge, huge sack. And, you know, the Jets beat up Aaron Rodgers all day. 9 quarterback hits, 4 sacks, but this one was pivotal. So now the Packers have to punt, and that led to the drive where the Jets would score their first touchdown of the day, and that only took 4 plays, 2 minutes and 10 seconds, and the Jets were up 10-3. That's play number 2. Play number 3, we're going to go to the end of the third quarter when there was 1:50 to go. Let's pull that up. I want to get the exact moment here for you. It was a 2nd and 9 from the Jets 35. Jets have the ball. And at this point, it is 17 to 10, Jets. The Packers had just scored their touchdown. So at this point, if the Green Bay defense can come through with a stop, there's a pretty good chance that the Packers are going to do something pretty good with it. Because that's where the momentum is really starting to build. Now, the first play of the drive was breecehall running behind right guard for just a 1-yard gain. All right, so now it's 2nd and 9. Here's the play. Minute 50 to go from the Jets 35. Zach Wilson does a short screen pass just over 2 Green Bay defenders to C.J. Uzomah, who's got a couple of blockers in front of him, and he takes the ball 14 yards for a first down. So now, instead of facing, if that ball had been knocked down, which could have easily happened, it would have been 3rd and 9 at the Jets 35. Instead, it's 1st and 10 at the Jets 49, and then it only took 3 more plays for the Jets to score their next touchdown, and it's a 24-10 game. And at that point, once that happened, you had to feel pretty confident the Jets were going to take it home. And that's exactly what happened. So there it is. Those are my 3 plays. I want to hear from you. Do you have any under-the-radar plays or moments that cued you in that this was going to be the Jets' day? So I'd love to hear your feedback. Feel free to leave a comment. Of course, if you would like the video, that means a lot. Share with a friend. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. I'll be back here with more talk about the Mets, the Jets, the Rangers. The Yankees, I know, just defeated the Cleveland baseball team, so they're going to a decisive Game 5. That should be a fascinating matchup back in the Bronx. I will be paying some good attention to that. Maybe I'll even do a little bit of a Yankee video. They deserve it, so I think I just might do that. Oh, and I would like to say just one more thing before we sign off. Oh, your season's over. It feels very good to see the Atlanta Braves eliminated from the playoffs. All right, well, I'll see you back here with more content from you-know-where, the Wicker Chair.